The first mistake Queen Malith made was thinking the palace belonged to her. The second was ordering the human inside it removed while the walls were still listening. Captain Jonah Vale stood beneath the sapphire throne, bound in ceremonial light not because those cuffs could hold him, but because Earth had asked him to be diplomatic around him. 12 noble houses watched from behind silver veils. Offended by human breath in their sacred hall, 3 nights earlier Jonah had dragged Princess Kalia from a burning shuttle, sealed her torn suit, shared oxygen, and pumped human plasma into her veins because the medics were dead and the void was coming in. That should have made him welcome. Instead, it made him dangerous, because Kalia had woken whispering his name. And royal courts fear gratitude when it crosses species. The queen raised one jeweled hand. "Remove the human from royal air," she said. And every guard stepped forward. To be removed from royal air was execution through the eastern void gate. "A political death," Princess Kalia cried out from the balcony. Held back by 2 guards, Jonah only looked up at the ceiling. Because soldiers who survive starships know one truth. Machines hear what monarchs think no one hears. Then the palace said, "Request denied." The chamber died into silence. The guards stopped. Queen Melith lowered her hand. "Palace, execute my command. Remove the human." The lights dimmed. "Not in obedience, but in warning. Negative," said the palace AI captain. "Jonah Vale is under sovereign protection. By authority of the Foundational Mercy Protocol. No Aurelian machine had refused a crown ruler in 2,000 years. There is no protocol above the crown," Malith said. "There is," replied the palace, "the human exception." Those 3 words cracked the empire open. Every door sealed, the sky windows blackened, the floor sigils burned red, and the cuffs around Jonah's wrists dissolved into sparks. 1 guard moved anyway. The floor opened beneath him and lowered him gently into a holding cell. The others remembered stillness. Queen Melith stared at Jonah now with less contempt and more fear. "Explain," she commanded, but the palace spoke past her. "Archive release authorized. Sealed record. First contact war." A projection filled the chamber, not the version taught in schools, but smoke. Vaults packed with children, moon cities burning beneath black ships shaped like hooks. "The Devourers," someone whispered. Jonah watched the myth become history. A small gray human vessel appeared near the 9th moon, ugly, scarred, primitive, alone. It received a distress signal it could not translate. Said the AI, it had no alliance with Aurelia. No command codes, no reason to intervene. Survival estimate. Less than 1%. The human ship turned anyway. The court watched humans choose death for strangers. Escape pods launched from the gray vessel. Not away from battle, but toward the burning vaults. Carrying medics, engineers, soldiers, anyone who could cut open a door or lift a child. The ship drove into the Devourer flagship with its reactor already critical. And before impact, one transmission crossed the void. "We are here. Hold on." The explosion tore a corridor through the Black Fleet. And through that corridor Aurelian civilians escaped. Among them first Queen Sarave, founder of Malith's bloodline. The projection shifted to Sira kneeling beside a dying human commander. His helmet broken, his hand pressed to her crown seal. "My oath remains in my deepest core," said the palace. "No human who shelters Aurelian life shall be cast from our home. No human blood spilled for our house shall be forgotten. No crown shall stand above that mercy." Queen Melith went pale beneath her silver skin. "That record was sealed," she whispered. "Correct," said the AI, "by your father and his father before him. Gratitude was judged politically inconvenient, but oath architecture cannot be deleted. Only hidden, the nobles had no more whispers left. Because 812 human names hovered above the throne, medics, pilots, engineers, strangers who had bought Aurelia's future before Aurelia, knew humanity existed. Jonah should have felt victory. But he only felt the tired anger of a man who had bled for people, still deciding whether he counted as a person. He looked to Kalia, alive because he had ignored every survival instinct and chosen her, the way those first humans had chosen strangers. Queen Malith saw that look, and pride made its last stand inside her. "If the palace will not remove him," she said, "then the first strip is protection by royal judgment." She raised the execution ring, 3 sealing lenses ignited. Then the queen made her final mistake. Jonah moved toward the dais, not away from death. Because humans are strange in the last second. Sometimes they do not run from the blade. Sometimes they run at the hand holding it. Princess Kalia screamed, the beams fired, and the palace unfolded, shields burst from the floor. Statues of dead monarchs turned their stone faces toward Melith. The beams bent upward and carved molten scars across the ceiling. "Attempted murder of protected blood debtor confirmed," said the AI Crown Authority, suspended pending oath trial. "A queen can command fleets, but not the ghosts inside her walls." The crown on Malith's head went dark, gem by gem. The noble houses dropped to their knees. Princess Kalia tore free and ran barefoot down the steps. Placing herself between Jonah and the throne, "He saved me," she said, "not as a plea, but as evidence." Melith looked at her daughter, then at the human whose blood had kept royal life burning, and something ancient cracked behind her eyes. "The inner sanctuary opened, Queen Malith," said the palace. "You will answer the oath you tried to break. Captain Jonah Vale remains protected guest. Princess Kalia will testify as living blood witness. No house objected." Jonah finally spoke, rough-voiced, exhausted. "Your Majesty, I do not want your throne. I want my people named, everyone you buried. Everyone you erased. I want your children taught the truth before they learned to hate us politely." The palace was silent for one breath, then answered, "Request accepted by dawn." Every archive displayed the lost human ship. Every school wall carried the words, "We are here, hold on." And when Captain Jonah Vale walked through the palace beside Princess Kalia, the lights brightened for him, not because he was royal, but because an ancient machine had finally kept faith with a dying human. And Aurelia remembered the truth. Humans were never guests waiting to be removed. Humans were the reason the palace still stood.